RuneScape has several cities, but Varrock is its most important. It houses the Grand Exchange, has banks, guilds, and lots of quests, and is a main thoroughfare in all 4 cardinal directions. East leads to the swamps of Mauritania, south to Lumbridge and Al-Kharid, west to Falador, and north to the wilderness. Usually, the city centre is typically just ran through and not given much thought, but it's here where our quest begins. Drawn over by the flashy colours and the creepy sign, we step through into the tent of the fortune teller. She offers to tell us our fortune, and it's only 1 gold, so why not? Aris, the fortune teller, peers into her crystal ball and scries a vision. She sees us with a sword, and then a large shadow approaches. The demon Delrith has returned. A long time ago, Delrith was summoned by Chaos Druids just outside of Varrock, but before it could destroy the city, a hero by the name of Wally came to the rescue and defeated the demon with his sword, Silverlight, casted a specific incantation, and trapped its soul inside the stone circle just outside the city walls. Upon recounting this story, Aris realises that in her vision of the demon's return, the sword we had in our hand was Wally's sword, Silverlight. And so it looks like we are the ones destined to fight the coming danger, and we'd better be quick, as the druids may be summoning Delrith as we speak. To follow in Wally's footsteps, all we need to do is defeat Delrith with Silverlight right after its summoning and say the correct incantation. The demon could arrive at any moment, so it's time to get the sword. Aris tells us that Silverlight has been passed down through each of Wally's descendants, and today it's in the possession of his great-grandson, Sir Prysin, who serves the king, Rold III, in his palace just across the road. Once Prysin hears of Delrith's return, he's all too happy to give you Wally's sword, but there's one problem. You see, Silverlight's power could do much harm if it were to get into the wrong hands, and so the king had made a special box with 3 keyholes, and all 3 corresponding keys are needed to get the thing open. He gave 1 to Captain Rovin of the Palace Guard, 1 to Wizard Treyburn of the Wizard's Tower, and he kept 1 for himself. Let's go get his first. Sir Prysin would give us his key, but there's one small problem. He somehow managed to drop it down the kitchen drain, and his arms aren't long enough to get it back out. If we go through to the kitchen to the back of the palace and try to fish it out ourselves, we don't have any luck either, and so we'll need to try and flush the key down with water and hope we can find wherever it's landed in the sewers. First off, we'll need a bucket. Usually used in farming, it's a very common item that can be found in general stores, like the one at the back of the square, just across from Aris's tent. Once we have a bucket, we can fill it up with water back at the kitchen sink, and then empty it all out into the drain, sending the key down into the Varrock sewers. The sewers are entered from a manhole just outside the palace to the east. Varrock's underground is nothing like its overground. It's long been abandoned and is full of all different kinds of hostile monsters. Though thankfully for us, we only need to take the shorter left tunnel as opposed to the rightmost path with its spooky scary skeletons. At the end of the tunnel, we're blocked off by a stream of sewage, and thankfully so, as the room is full of zombies. Though it's a dead end, places like this are really good for training your magic or ranged skill, as they've no way of fighting back. The kitchen drain empties right here on our back left, and next to it, next to a load of long dead skeletons, is Sir Prysin's key. Oh, and in case you cared, the ladder across the way leads up to the bear cage just outside the palace kitchen. Next is Captain Rovin's key. He's on the 2nd floor in the northwest tower of the palace. As a city guard, Rovin is of course worried about the news of Delrith's return, but is sceptical of our motivations. When we tell him that we've Sir Prysin's permission to get the key, Rovin reveals he never liked the knight, and so after we humour him with the story of how Sir Prysin lost his own key, he hands it over, so long as we, and not Sir Prysin, get credit for slaying the demon. Sir Prysin says the 3rd and final key was given to the wizard Treyburn. Treyburn lives with the other wizards in their tower, far down to the south at the other end of the kingdom. And to get there, we need to head back, past the fortune teller's tent and out of Varrock's southern gate, and along the road to Lumbridge. Lumbridge is a smaller town, built along the western side of its eponymous Lum River. This is where new players are taken after finishing the tutorial, and so it has a special place in the hearts of many. There are two traditional paths from Lumbridge, over the bridge and north to Varrock, the road we've just arrived from, and north and eventually westwards, towards Draenor village and the other kingdoms beyond. However, the best route to the Wizard's Tower is the dirt track heading west from the sheep farm, which goes all the way through the woods to the coast. At the coast is, from my reckoning at least, the biggest bridge in all of RuneScape, and it goes straight to the Wizard's Island and their tower. Once in the tower, we can find Wizard Treyborn up just one flight of stairs in his own room. He calls us a young thingamywhat, which makes me wish I could do silly voices. He doesn't remember Sir Prysin nor his key, but he does remember one of the King's Knights stopping by once, and that they didn't like his homemade spinach rolls. If we ask for one ourselves, he'll fumble around in his robes until he pulls one out. A spinach roll, I mean. Though he doesn't remember the key specifically, we can ask him if he has any keys knocking around, and he does, in his magically sealed closet. Unsurprisingly, he doesn't remember how he sealed it, but concludes that if a magic ritual locked it, a second will unlock it, and for that he needs 25 sets of bones. Bones are a very common item, dropped by anything with a skeleton, aside from creatures like giants and their big bones, dragons and their dragon bones, and wolves who drop wolf bones, obviously. The closest vertebrates are the goblins who hang around in the ruins along the forest path we just came from. Let's kill them. 25 dead goblins later, we cross back over the bridge to the tower, and up to see Treyborn. We hand him the bones, he performs the ritual, opens the closet, and hands us the third key. Now it's time to head back to the knight. With all three keys in hand, Sir Prysin unlocks the box, takes out Silverlight, and hands it over. It's time to face Delrith. When we get to the stone circle outside the city, the summoning has already begun. Let's get in there before things get worse. Once we've defeated Delrith with Silverlight, we shout out the magical incantation Wollywant shouted many centuries ago, and just like that, the demon is sucked into the ground, never to be seen again. And that's it, we've saved the day. Quest completed. Thanks for watching, and a special thanks to YouTube members Imelis, Stephen Rubio, Silex and Nightseeker. They had access to this video 100 hours before it was published, and if you also want this access, the join button is down below.